Hi, my name is Nicole McMahon, and this is my Piecing Me Together video project. So for the theme I chose was diverse families, and I think this is a super important theme in Piecing Me Together. Jade speaks many times about how she just feels completely different from her classmates around her because she's from another part of town, a poorer part of town, and she's in the school on scholarship, so she doesn't really fit in with those who attend there without the scholarship. I think this is a super important thing to discuss with younger children because the younger children are exposed to diversity, I believe, the more open-minded they'll be to it. So that was one of the reasons that I chose diverse families. So the activity that I chose for my project was a diversity collage for the first part. There's actually 3 different parts. The diversity collage. I also chose a 1-paragraph explanation to go along with that, and then a list of 6 different things, and I'll discuss all of those. So for the diversity collage, what I would like them to do, this is one of my visual aids, I'm going to be having them bring in 2 current photos of their family and then 2 past photos of their family. So it can be grandparents, great-grandparents, or if they can find something even, further down the line, that would be great. So they're going to put those pictures, each child will put those pictures on the piece of cardboard, and ideally it would be probably about twice this size, but this is the biggest size that I had at home. So they would put it on here. So each student would bring in 4 separate pictures. I think that this would be just very helpful in seeing the differences in families and maybe even finding differences in your family that you didn't expect. So that is part of the project. Another part of the project is that they will bring in 2 aspects from their culture to add to the diversity collage. So it can be a flag from the country that they're from originally. It can be recipes handed down from generations, anything like that. Just something that represents their background and their culture. Something that I found kind of interesting when I was doing this, I was looking through pictures of my ancestors, and I came across a picture of my grandpa who actually passed away before I was, actually my dad was only about 5 when he passed away, so I never got a chance to meet him. But I found this picture. I'm not sure exactly when it was taken. It's not labeled or anything on there, so I'm not sure, but that was super cool. And just finding stuff like that, I think the kids will have fun with it, researching their background, and then just learning about what other students' backgrounds are as well. Another thing I found was a yearbook, and this is something that someone could use too as an aspect from their culture or their background. They could just take a picture of something in the yearbook or the front of the yearbook. This was actually my grandma's yearbook, so this was in 1937, and I thought that was really, really cool. So those are my visual aids for this presentation, just to give an example of what students can use. Along with the collage, like I said, they're going to be writing a 1-paragraph explanation about what they learned about their culture. So just something short, just a couple of tidbits about what they learned, what they didn't know before. Maybe they had no idea what, descendants they had, and they would find it from there. So just something short, something brief. And then they'll also write a list of 6 things they learned about someone else's culture. And I think all of these projects together just kind of tie in really nicely with Piecing Me Together. The diversity and understanding of each other, I think, is extremely important, and it's just a way for students to connect and better understand each other, because a lot of the time we're just very one-focused, especially kids of this age range, 11 to 13. They're very single-minded and a little bit selfish when it comes to what they think, and this will just help broaden their horizons and open up their mind to what other people deal with, and also just other people's backgrounds, which is important. Some real-life comparisons I came across were, the first one was an article. It was in the Rasmussen University website. And it talked about ways to talk to children about diversity. And this specific article was about early childhood education, but I think it could apply to really talking to any type of child, or you can even expand it to adults too, because sometimes we have to kind of go back down to the basics with those who are not as open-minded. So one of the things that I found very important, I'm going to move this to the side so I can tell you what that was, is to recognize your assumptions carry weight. I think this is an extremely important thing that we can teach to children and teach it for ourselves, learn for ourselves as well. A lot of the time we have these preconceived notions about someone's background, and we are closed off to ideas otherwise. And I think as teachers especially, it's very important to know and to teach others to be open-minded so that we can be open-minded ourselves. It's also super important not to be judgmental when it comes to others' backgrounds. And I think, again, with this project, I think that will help the students understand each other more and cause less judgmentality. Another suggestion from the article was for families to be allowed to share in the classroom. I think this is a fantastic idea to connect with not only the student, but the family as well. And because they know their culture better than we do, we will have a better understanding when it is spoken directly from them, and maybe even have some of our questions answered if they're willing to answer them. And this is, again, another way for students to connect to other students and to better understand what someone is going through or what someone might be going through, and to kind of open their mind to knowing that there are other people going through different situations that we couldn't think of or imagine a lot of the time. So I think that was a great suggestion. I also came across a collage, and it had a picture of just many different skin colors, many different ethnicities, children, older children, and it just really spoke to me. I think it is a great reminder that we are all different and we're all connected to each other. It was around a big heart. And different is beautiful. It doesn't have to be the same. How boring would it be if we were all the same? So I think that visual reminder for me helped me remember that it would be a very boring world if we were all white skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. It would be boring. We wouldn't be learning anything from each other. And I think that's another thing that we can take away from this, is that we can learn so much from each other. And in Piecing Me Together, Jade and her friend learned so much about each other by going to each other's houses and just having their eyes opened to things that they didn't think about before, like how racism is still real, how African Americans get looked at differently in stores than a white person per se would. So I think that's a great reminder that even though we're different, it's okay to be different, but we need to also understand each other and try to be open-minded towards one another's differences. The picture book that I chose to go along with this was one of my favorite children's books. It's called 10 Little Fingers and 10 Little Toes. It's written by Mem Fox and Helen Oxenberry. And it's kind of for younger children, but I think it's great for any age because everybody loves babies. So it has pictures of different babies from around the world and how every baby is born into different situations. Some might be born in a farm, some might be born in a hospital, some might be born at home, some might be, born and cared for by different family members, or just by mom and dad, or by mom and mom, or dad and dad. Although it doesn't speak about that aspect in this book, it just is a reminder that we're all different, but we're all connected. We all have 10 little fingers and 10 little toes. And it's just such a great visual of the differences around the world and how we are all connected. We're all the same on the inside, even though we look different on the outside a lot of the time. So that is my presentation. Hope you enjoyed it. I learned a lot from this book, and I loved this book. I thought it was super interesting, and it's outside of my norm of reading, so I think that was very nice. But yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you so much.